What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Potomac. This is I was about to say 6. It's not. It's season 9, episode 6. And all I can say is, when is Jacqueline leaving? When is she leaving? Like, all I keep thinking is, go away from me with this Apollo. Get her off the screen. I'm so sick of Jacqueline. And it's not even like I'm sick of her in the sense of like I'm like tired of her. It's just like she serves no purpose. And it's just like you can tell she trying too hard. And I'm like, baby, give it up. And again, Karen said it best, so I'm going to just play it again.
There's no place for her in our social circle.
There's no room for you in this circle, girl. You got to leave. You got to leave. But let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. So first up, let's talk about Miss Mia Thornton. So Mia was on The Decider, the same entertainment website or page that Giselle was on. And the interviewer asked her pretty much the same question that she asked Giselle. And Giselle's question was like, is it true that Mia does have a lot to answer for at the reunion, per what Ashley said when she was doing an interview while in London during High U Fan Fest? Well, the interviewer asked Mia what did she think about what Giselle and I think also what Ashley said. So let me play that clip for you guys.
You recently said that you're going to have the most to answer for at the reunion. Yeah. What's your response to that, and do you agree?
I mean, I actually want to know, like, what she wants to know. You know, I answer all questions, like, bring them on. Like, what is it? I don't have to answer to anybody but myself. You know, my life is definitely been intricately, like, odd. And I'm doing the best that I can. Going through a divorce is not easy at all. I'm just being honest with my divorce. She's doing the same thing, but I don't think that she's telling you guys everything.
So here's my thoughts. I feel as though Mia isn't truthful about her situation. I feel like she just throws things out there that are like salacious and like pretty much like clickbait. So we'll all tune in and it'll get us talking for like the time being, but then we move on to something else. I definitely agree with Ashley and Giselle that Mia is going to have the most to answer for at the reunion. I feel as though that Giselle, Karen, and possibly Kiarna, if Mia and her keep going at it, the three of those ladies are going to be on her neck. And I want to see if Mia is going to be able to stand in it, or if my prediction is going to be correct, that Karen and Giselle gonna have that lady walking off either fake crying or actually crying in her dressing room during the reunion. So the next thing I want to talk about is Mia, Karen, and this opioid situation. So a lot of people felt like Karen was lying when the sneak peek was going around, but then people started to bring their receipts. So shouts out to y'all. Kim Pyre even reposted the link to a video he did 3 years ago titled Mia Thornton Reveals Opioid Overdose, plus Giselle Bryant admits to Jamal's cheating. So he was like, I talked about this 3 years ago. And then somebody found a news clip of Mia revealing it. So let me play that for you.
Let's talk about how chiropractic care has been great for you.
Well, for me, I had a very traumatic childhood growing up here in the DC, Maryland area, which unfortunately led me to an opioid overdose at a very young age.
So that was the receipt. Now here is where I'm confused, because Mia says she grew up in the DC, Maryland area. Didn't she tell us she grew up in North Carolina? Like, when I tell you, I am so confused by Mia's stories, and I've always said that I wanted somebody to create a timeline. Like, I need somebody to go back to season 6 and like detail how Mia says she grew up all the way to where we are now, because she keeps saying like, oh, I grew up in North Carolina, me and Ink moved down here when we were 19, to now it's I grew up in the DMV area. She confuses me, bro. She confuses me. And so the last thing we're going to talk about is Jazzy. So Jazzy's story wasn't adding up, and I guess the baby mama wanted to clear her name. So this is what she said. She says, "It's nothing to beef over, but making them the narrative every episode is sickening. Like he has kids, okay. Y'all weren't together. Just be honest. It's that simple. But don't try and downplay him and I to make yourself look better, is all I'm saying." And people in the comments dragging him off of what she said when the story she's telling is farthest from the truth. He knew of each one of his children. He didn't find out when I was 2 or 3 months pregnant. We got pregnant each year on each other's birthday. But before you try and come for me, know this real narrative. I don't want anyone to kiss my ASS, but we're honest over here. So then another person said she was talking too much, knew the baby mama was going to come for her. And then she responded by saying, "I'm not coming for her. Just wish she stopped bringing up my children and referring to me as her and she." Honestly, that didn't clear anything up either. It just gave me three different scenarios. Because I've seen people say that they've been knowing each other, the baby mama and Darius, since they were in high school. I don't know if that's true. But either it's giving me that you got knocked up thinking that was going to keep him or that was going to build your family, and he left you for Jazzy. Or two, he was cheating on you with Jazzy and either she knew about you or she didn't. Or three, he was running back in between both of y'all and y'all both knew about each other and you got the babies but she got the ring. Either way, it's messy. All right, y'all, so let's talk about it. So the episode opens up where it left off, where Stacey has just come back into the den area to tell Karen. Mia and them said, "Girl, we need to take you to rehab. Are you okay?" And Karen got this look like, oh, so this is how we play in the game. So Karen is like, "Thank you." You know, you can see it like the Karen's brain like working, where Karen was like, "Oh, so we playing this game? Okay, if we gonna play this game, then I'm gonna show you how to play it and I'm gonna play it better." Okay. So then Kiarna and Jazzy sit down. Ashley was in the kitchen getting something to eat. And Jazzy is like, "Are you okay, Karen? You good?" And Karen's like, "Girl, I'm fine." Then Kiarna is just like, Karen is honest. She's this and she's that. And the thing about Kiarna that's starting to annoy me is I feel like she has blind loyalty to Karen. And I understand that it comes from Karen riding in the ambulance with her when she got hit in the head at the GNA event. But I'm just kind of like, it reminds me of Candace, and I will never let go the way Karen played in Candace Face season 5 of Real Housewives of Potomac, where I'm just like, nobody needs to be blindly loyal to anybody on this cast. And if I was Kiarna, I would still be cool with Karen and still cultivate a relationship with her, but I wouldn't be like, "Oh, Karen is this, Karen is that," when it's like, girl, you've only known this lady for like a year. If that, by the time y'all started filming, like, get to know her, get to have like serious moments with her before you start singing her praises to the high heavens. So Karen ends up being like, "Well, you know, I'm not surprised that Mia would say that," seemingly seems that she had her own bouts with addiction, you know, opioids. And everybody's like, "What?" What? Stacey is like, "Opioids." Then you got Kiarna standing up like, "Karen, are you freaking serious? Are you freaking kidding me, Karen?" Ashley is in the back like, "Oh, so we going there." Ashley was like, "I already had to back up out the room when they mentioned rehab for you. Now you putting out opioid addiction and stuff like that." She said, "Girl, no me gusta." So Stacey is in her confessional being like, that's a little too far, because I think Stacey believes that Karen is lying, or maybe she knows, is it true? But if she thought Karen was lying, the girls, like I did in the Spicy Corner, they dug up information and they found it and they presented it to us that like Karen was not lying. And the thing about it is like, Karen may not be lying, but Mia may be lying. But since Mia put it out there on that news clip that she did have this overdose situation, that it's like, is she lying or is she telling the truth? Because I could see Mia making up a story like this in order to like sell people's interest in her businesses. I could. Like, we had the not cancer situation, then the way that she used her mom's story, and then now we're here, because I was like, I do not remember her talking about, you know, addiction issues when she talked about being in the foster care system. it's like Mia just got a story for everything. And it's so like, because even in the news clip, she said she grew up in the DMV, like the DC, Maryland area. But didn't you tell us you lived in, and you grew up in North Carolina? Like, I'm confused, bro. I'm confused. So you got Wendy basically like in the bathroom getting ready, saying like, girl, this ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm in my birthday bubble. They got it. We then see this scene of Ashley out beside the pool, and she's on FaceTime with the nanny and her 2 boys. And honestly, I kind of tuned it out. It really wasn't nothing. The only thing that I peeped is how that child was on top of the roof of a car, and Ashley be letting them kids climb up on anything, and it irritates me. Okay, I remember, was it last season? I had to be last season, when they were at her house, and you see the oldest child picking up the youngest one to get them on the counter. Now we got the youngest baby on top of the car, and I'm like, what if he slide forward, flip off of a head gone, head crack, skull open, and I'm just like, how he get up there? Like, did you watch your child like climb out the car like Spider-Man to get on the roof of your car, and you didn't stop him? You didn't grab him? Like, it's too much. So then Ashley is like, her kids are in this age where like, they like to call her names. They used to call her poopy head, but now they don't do that no more. I don't. Ashley gets off the phone with her kids. We see Karen, Kiana, and Stacy come sit beside her while she's at the pool. They're all kind of like, has anybody been to the joint chiropractic? Karen is like, oh, I went. And then she was like, I used to be a member. And they show a flashback to season 6 when we first met Mia and Karen getting her back broken. So the next thing we see is Jazzy. So Jazzy comes out. Now, I think Jazzy thought that the platform that Ashley had her feet on was what she was standing on, because the way she slid into the pool and them hands went up and she vanished, and I was like, can she swim? I don't think she was ready. Now, had it been me, I would have just laughed at myself, because I would have been like, bro, I really thought it was not that deep right there, because she went, it was like a whoo, and she was like this. I said, get her. So she comes up, and they all start laughing. They're like, you okay? You good? So then the next thing they start talking about is Stacy. So Stacy pretty much exposes that Kiana has been wearing lingerie every night for her man Greg, and they were on FaceTime. And Kiana says like her and Greg had fallen asleep while talking to each other on FaceTime. And I'm looking at Stacy like, see, you was just mad at Ashley for telling your business. Now you telling Kiana business. Now, if she was in there flicking the bean and, being real like uncomfortable, that's one thing, but it just seems like she was just having conversations with her man. So you broke like roommate code, Stacy. No me gusta. That's not good. But Kiana didn't really seem fazed by it. So then they pivot the conversation on to Stacy, where they're like, well, girl, you was smiling ear to ear while you were on the phone with TJ. And Stacy ends up explaining how like she's so in love with this man that like they can talk about anything, like religion, their futures, their families. Like she feels so connected to him, and she's at the point where she thinks she wants to introduce him to her daughter, Arabella. And so everyone's like, oh, that's like a big step. Like that's a huge step if you're going to take it. So then I think she ends up asking Ashley, like, or the group, like, should she introduce her kid to him? And they were like, well, yeah, but like, what does your husband feel about this? Like, what does he view? Like, TJ asked, like, or does he know what TJ is? Because I think by this time is when Wendy comes and sits down with them, and she's just like, well, I think he knows we have feelings for each other, but I don't think he knows how deep it is. So Ashley ends up chiming in, or maybe she was asked, and I think she was just like, girl, no. You know what I'm saying? She was like, my kids wouldn't meet the person that I'm with until they have met Michael, and vice versa. That's how they have their situation. We also find out that Ashley is now ready to go forward with her divorce. But I'm going to be totally honest. I don't believe Ashley, because I remember in season 7 reunion when everybody was in all blue and she was saying that in the state of Virginia you have to be legally separated for a year in order to proceed with your divorce. And I was like, girl, it's been more than a year. And you were saying you were ready then, and you keep saying that you're ready now. But ultimately, I just think Ashley does not have the means to live on her own. And I also don't think she has the confidence to live on her own or to struggle in figure it out, because I'm still trying to understand, how do you not have enough money saved where you don't really have to like rely on Michael being in your life? Or do you still like Michael and just like, I think that's what it is. Maybe Ashley still wants to be with Michael, but since Michael doesn't want to film on the show anymore, they came up with this divorce storyline, because I think it's actually kind of crazy that like we're at this point and you haven't let that man go, because you're still dating. Because that's my other thing. If Ashley's going to do that hotel dating show with Giselle, Luann, and Shannon, I'm like, you should be divorced, right? Or like, how are you on a dating show actively dating and you're still married? That makes no sense to me. So then Kiarna chimes in and she says, well, I am with Greg. Greg was already married before. He's recently divorced and he has 3 kids. She was like, I'm basically the rich auntie. I'm trying to show Greg I'm a great stepmother, all of this stuff. I basically auditioning for a ring, and that's where I play my field. So then Jazzy brings up how, her man has kids too, and, you want to be involved or be introduced to them. So then Stacey in the confessional is like, Jazzy has this public marriage with this NFL player. We actually get to see Darius, and they then start talking about how the story that Jazzy has been giving everybody doesn't make sense. And they show us 3 different stories, where one story, she says that the kids were already baking in the oven, or one was already baking, or he had the kids when it don't make sense, because she said on one story, I think she said that the kids were already there before she got there. Then the other story is like they started dating and then one was baking in the other. Either way, it don't make sense. That's just what it is. It doesn't make sense. And Stacey even points out that it doesn't make sense. So the next thing you know, you hear Jacqueline come out and sits beside Wendy. Then you hear Mia be like, hey, y'all, we got a gift. And it's these like basic flowers that Eddie and the kids have sent to Wendy. She reads a really cute card. So then they all start dancing and twerking. Mind you, all Stacey is doing a little shimmy, shimmy. Just doing a little shit. She's talking about she can't twerk. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel like Stacey's like persona is a facade to a certain extent, because Stacey gives that like when she get that liquor in her, or if she gets around people that she is totally comfortable with, she shows a completely different side, or the real Stacey. Cause I'm like, Stacey, I know you got more rhythm than that. Like the fact that Giselle and Ashley dance better than you is saying something, girl. So they're all dancing. We then see Mia basically start twerking or riding Kiarna, and Kiarna ends up saying, girl, I ain't forgot what you said to me, but we can have this cute little kumbaya moment for right now. See Giselle pull up, and she walks into the house, and Jazzy is sitting at the kitchen table, doing her makeup. So she sits down and she's like, girl, download me on what has happened since I've been gone. So Jazzy is like, girl, where you missed Mia and Kiarna getting into it, something about drug dealers funding people's businesses, strippers this, strippers that. Then Ashley ends up asking Kiarna, do you have a scar? And even Giselle is like, yes, she has a scar. You can see it on her forehead. So, and Jazzy is like, yeah, I told Ashley, like, girl, do you wear glasses? And she said no. So I said, I know you see it. So then Giselle asks Jazzy, like, well, girl, what were you doing? She said, girl, I was listening and observing pretty much. So then we see Ashley pull up and she sits down, and Giselle's like, Ashley, did you really ask Kiarna about the scar on her face? And Ashley's like, well, yes, because, like, I was just like her skincare routine, girl. And so Giselle's like, well, how did she react to that? So then Ashley ends up reenacting Kiarna, like, freaking out, being like, don't talk about my scar. Don't talk. And she was crying. And Giselle is just like, oh, good God. So then Giselle ends up being like, when did this happen? Like when I left or this morning? And Jazzy ends up being like, girl, this morning, and we had fried chicken and it was nice. So then you see Jacqueline pull up to the table, and Jacqueline is like, Giselle, I'm so happy you back, because the girls act like they ain't got no sense when you are away. So then the rest of the ladies pull up to the house. And so Giselle is just not pull up to the house, but pull up to the kitchen table. And Giselle in her confessional is pretty much just like, we need to, everybody, she's just like, who do I need to check on? Who do we, like, she was like, we don't need all this chaos and confusion. Let's just have a good day. So then Mia comes out and she pulls out this Grey Goose bottle. She pours a shot into Wendy's mouth, and then she goes to Stacey, and Stacey is like, I don't know about no shots. Like, do I gotta swallow? And they're like, yeah, girl. So then she pours it into Stacey's mouth. Then they were like, okay, Mia, who's gonna give you your shot? Mia takes it upon herself to deep throat the bottle. Now, mind you, there was about this much liquor in that bottle where you could have gotten at least 2 or 3 shots out of it. Now, if you was gonna deep throat the bottle, Mia, let it be 1 shot of liquor. So she deep throats it. She ends up coughing because she gags, and like everyone's just looking at her like, Mia. So then Giselle's in her confessional being like, Mia, you prove what we all were thinking about you is right. So then she ends up being like, girl, now, ladies, this is how you keep a man, and this is how I keep 2 men. And I'm just like, are you keeping them? Are you like, I don't know. Girl, you're paying for one. Last episode, you told us that you pretty much are funding Gordon's lifestyle. So you out here paying for his bills and sucking him off. He got a good deal. Like, what we talking about, Mia? That wasn't a flex. That wasn't a flex. So we then see them pile into the Sprinter to go to the whole joint chiropractic, or Mia's first joint chiropractic that she opens. So the way that the setup is in the back, you got Karen, Jazzy, and Kiarna. In the middle is Mia, Jacqueline, and Ashley, and then Giselle, Wendy, and Stacey are sitting in the front. So Giselle starts to grill Stacey, where she's just like, okay, who's this TJ man, and have we met him before? And Stacey's like, well, you can like look him up. And Giselle went right up on her phone. They went into his IMDb. We see that he has done like a few works, and like Wendy is like, oh, so he's an extra, and Stacey's like, no, he's had roles. And they actually show like Instagram footage from, I guess, TJ's page and all his stuff where he like promotes when he's on work and all that stuff. So it's given that TJ might be an extra, but also has had like speaking roles in some shows and like some like sitcoms and stuff like that. So then Giselle ends up asking Stacey, so who was the one that said that they wanted to be celibate? Was it you or was it him? And she was like, well, it was him, Giselle. So then Giselle was like, so like nothing, y'all can't do nothing. So then you see Mia in the back being like, she hasn't had sex because she's so stiff. And so Mia starts mocking how stiff Stacey is. So they go back to the front of the bus, and Giselle was like, you can't touch it. You can't, like, do y'all do oral? I said, no, Giselle, because that's sex. And so she's like, you can't rub on it, see if it's a stick shift, see if it feels comfortable to ride. And Giselle's like, Stacey, all I want to know is like, you test drive the car before you take it off the lot. So then Wendy is like, girl, it could be a thumb. And I said, well, she's not lying. It could be a thumb. And so then Stacey ends up being like, well, there's other things that you can do. Like, you know, we pray, we work out together, we go to the DC Zoo. And I said, yeah, because the zoo is free. The DC Zoo is free, okay? And so Stacey also says, well, you know, I have a man and Giselle doesn't. So, like, I think I'm doing pretty fine. But my thing about it is with Stacey is it don't even seem like that man like you like that, girl. So then Wendy and Giselle are laughing in Stacey's face, which that would have pissed me off because I don't like people laughing at me. But the whole situation is comical. And I feel one of two ways. Like, on the one hand, I don't think it's wrong for a man to be celibate. I feel like it's your body, your choice. Don't let nobody, whoever, you know, about to be our president, it's your body, your choice, okay? You do whatever you want with your body. But I just feel like, I think the part that is making people question the celibacy is because of the energy that TJ is giving Stacey. He doesn't even seem like he's into Stacey. Like, there's no chemistry. Even when they flirt, it's very awkward. And I just feel like we getting played. I feel like Stacey and TJ are in cahoots, and TJ is a struggling actor. So Stacey was like, hey, you my friend, let me get you on this show. We pretend like we together and we present this to the people. Because a lot of people feel like TJ's gun is pink. That's what me and my friends say. We either say black if it's straight, pink if it's for he gay, or I say it. My friends say, is it purple for bisexual? And I said it's giving purple. I could give TJ purple. I say it's giving that, and then it don't make it any better that TJ had that blouse on Watch What Happens Live, and it was a nice shirt. And I've seen many a straight man wear see-through like blouses like that, but it's the energy that TJ gives is not given. Right now, I like women. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I think the joint chiropractic. It was so awkward because Mia walks in, the two people at the front desk looking at her like, who is this? She ends up being like, oh, I don't know you guys. And I'm like, clearly you don't know them because you no longer own the joint chiropractor or this joint chiropractic. So she started talking about how it's just crazy how we had 22 locations. Me and Gordon were building, and really the reason why we got kicked out was Gordon because of his mental state. So Mia is trying to create this narrative that because Gordon has bouts with bipolarism is the reason why they got kicked out of the company, and now she has had to pivot to something else. But I do remember the family coming out and pretty much saying that they kind of kicked him out because of Mia, that it was like something to the effect that like Mia was doing too much, or she was spending too much money, or they didn't like the fact that Mia was saying that like she was like the CEO of the company and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, Mia, you're gonna have to take some ownership instead of trying to label this man as the sole reason. Now, do I think Gordon was partly the reason? Yeah, but not the sole reason why they no longer are part of the joint chiropractic or anything like that. So now Mia talks about how she's nervous to start her own business ventures, but she's ready to do so. So they were like, okay, where's Dr. McDaddy, the one that you brought up? We find out that he's not even there. The guy that we end up seeing her talk to is another physician that works there. So while they're standing around there, it's so awkward. Like, nobody's impressed. And I think Mia brought them there thinking that the people would be impressed. And even Kiarna was just like, I don't know what Mia thought she was doing by bringing us here, but it's not really doing anything. You got Wendy being like, girl, it's my birthday. Where the strippers at? I thought you was going to get some of your old work friends to come, visit, but I guess not. And then I think Karen ends up being like, girl, Mia made this whole weekend about her, even though it's supposed to be like Wendy's birthday. And then back in the chiropractic place, Giselle is asking like, so when were y'all the busiest? And Mia really couldn't even give like a straight answer. And even she was like, girl, why are we here? Why are we here? Leaving the joint chiropractic and going to lunch. Now, mind you, I don't get why they just didn't stay in Charlotte, because the skyline that they kept showing is the Charlotte skyline. And I was just like, so y'all had dinner in Charlotte, y'all having lunch in Charlotte, and then you're going to drive like an hour to Lake Norman and then drive back so you can get on a plane. You might as well have just stayed in Charlotte. There's so much to do in Charlotte. Mind you, this birthday trip is lame. Like, it's always weird to me with Potomac when it comes to birthdays, because I'm like, y'all are ladies of a certain age and y'all have money. Like, turn up, have fun. Like, why are we not doing fun things? And far be it, because I always squander my birthdays. I procrastinate and I wait till the last minute. But as someone that has a sibling who is very much like, my sister doesn't work on her birthday, she always is taking like a trip out of the country on her birthday or going somewhere or doing something special for her birthday. It's just kind of like, why didn't y'all do that? Like, I'm just kind of like, there was so much stuff that you could do in Charlotte that's just weird to me that they didn't do that. So they sit down at this restaurant and Giselle pretty much kicks up the mess, where she ends up asking Kiarna how she doing and did Ashley apologize to her about the whole like stitches situation or scar. And Ashley's like, yeah, I apologize. So then Kiarna was like, yeah, it was hurtful. And I was taken aback that Mia, out of everyone, had the audacity to like talk about my man and my relationship when look at her life. So then Mia's like, girl, what? And Kiarna pretty much is like, well, girl, you have a colorful past. So to even bring up like me and my ex that was, a drug dealer when you was a stripper is crazy. So then they get to going back and forth and arguing, and I just thought it was hilarious because Wendy was tickled by the whole thing. Now, some can say that being a drug dealer is definitely not the same as being a stripper, but I feel like there's like a gray area. Stripping is definitely legal and being a drug dealer is definitely not legal, but we can't act like in certain strip clubs the girls be knowing they be running drugs through them buildings. They know. Like, they know they be moving weight through them buildings. So I'm just kind of like, doesn't that make it even, like, doesn't that make it wrong too if you knew that, like, your establishment is where people do drop-offs and stuff? So I just was laughing at the whole exchange. So then Jazzy chimes in once everything kind of like calms down and the food gets there. It was like the caviar and the drinks get there. So then they kind of chilled out, and Jazzy brings up how, you know, her man won this, like his team won the Super Bowl, and whoever wins the Super Bowl, oftentimes they get to go to the White House. So she's having like a party where she wants to kind of like pre-game before they go, or maybe post-game, and she's inviting everybody that is single so all the girls can come and mix and mingle. So, you know, Giselle's really excited. Ashley's really excited. And then out of nowhere, Jacqueline brings up how she's lost 15 pounds and how she's in such a better space. It was just so awkward. And now she's in this spirit of like, don't F with me. And so Giselle was like, was that for Karen? Was that for Karen? So then Jacqueline doesn't really say anything, and Karen ends up being like, even if it was, I'm over here ping ping like Wonder Woman, you know, blocking everything. And they all laughed. Stacy was like, well, no, Karen really has been doing a good job defending herself. And Jacqueline really didn't have anything to say. So then Mia ends up being like, well, let's get up and go. We're going back to the house. Everybody remember, you're supposed to wear red because we're going to, I think she said Inferno, and it's going to be a rooftop dinner. So come looking sexy, come looking great. So the next scene we get is of Jazzy on FaceTime with her boyfriend or her fiance. Now, when I tell you they've been flaming Jazzy up since Sunday, especially since the baby mama came out, and everybody was like, girl, either you was a side chick or he cheated on you. Don't try to dress it up. The people also said, girl, you doing all of this for a man that's on the practice team, not the actual football team. And I said, ooh, girl. So we find out that Darius, I guess, got traded from the Chiefs, and I think they say he's on the Cowboys, the Dallas team in Texas. And I said, So she gets off the phone with him. We then see Ashley and Giselle go outside to talk, and Giselle ends up saying that she does really like the new girls, and Ashley says she likes them too. So then Ashley ends up bringing up to Giselle how, you remember my song Healing and Surviving, and they show a flashback when she was singing it last season. Healing and surviving, living and I'm thriving. Something, hey, and she was just like, I really want to get that music off the ground. So, I sent the song to like a guy to put an EDM beat on it. Girl, Giselle's face. It reminded me of Sheree and Nene. Oh, I like the beat. Or when Nene was like, this is what we doing. Girl, I was screaming. Because Giselle was trying her best to let Ashley have her moment. And then Giselle tried to help by saying, like, isn't like when people add EDM beats, it's supposed to be like the beat's supposed to drop. Like, the beat never dropped. And she was just looking at Ashley. And I was like, girl, don't save her. So then Ashley's like, well, I know you're going to support me, right? We're going to do a dance and everything. And she's like, girl, Stacy might dance a little better than you. And Giselle's like, well, I got the shimmy. I got the arms. Girl, no. Giselle and Ashley actually dance better than Stacy. At least they got a little bit of rhythm. All Stacy be doing is this. Like, she trying to be pretty and dance. And I'm like, girl, that's not what we doing here. So we end up seeing all the ladies like now come down the steps except Wendy in their red. And then next thing you know, you hear Jacqueline say something smell like stank pussy. And I said, girl, what? I said, what is she? No, I know she just did not say that. So I rewinded and she said it again. And then Mia was like, is it me? Is it me? And then Jacqueline proceeds to like smell it, to like sniff her cooch. And I said, This is why people think y'all are weird. So then, Jacqueline's in her confessional being like, I don't know what that smell was, but I'm always going to take care of my girl. I'm always going to be there for her. I said, and she's like, I'll take one for the team. Girl, I'm not smelling my friend's cooch. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So then Ashley ends up looking at her like, girl, what? And then Karen even makes a face, and maybe somebody's cooch was stank, but like, if you think it's your friends, you do the nice thing and pull them to the side and say, ooh, girl, it's kind of smelling a little fishy. You might want to go wash a little bit more. Just, do what you can. And then they go, but you don't do it out in public and smell her cootie cat. Like, in front of everybody. Like, are you serious? I'm stingy with my cootie cat. Shout out to Jocelyn. So then Wendy comes up looking really cute in her white outfit. And what was crazy to me is looking at Karen. Karen looked good to be 61 years old. She is stacked, okay? And I said, Ray not climbing up on that. Karen got a man on the side, and Ray understand because his wife is, like, that body is eating at 61, okay? They fall into the sprinter, and they end up playing F, Marry, Kill. And the first person I think that went was Wendy. And so she said she would sleep with Giselle. She would marry Kay, like Kiarna, and then she would take out Jacqueline. Then it was Karen who ended up saying that she would sleep with Mia, either marry Jacqueline. No, she would marry Jazzy or Kiarna, and then she would take out Jacqueline. And then in her confessional says she ends up saying, I'm Karen Corleone, the mob family. Don't mess with me. I said, girl, get over it. So then I think Ashley ended up saying that she would sleep with Mia and then marry Stacy and then take out Wendy, but then bring her back. And then Stacy ends up saying that she would marry Ashley, sleep with Mia, but then take out Jacqueline. Jacqueline had the most kills. Like, everyone was like, yeah, just take Jacqueline out. I said, girl, they don't like you. They don't see it for you, sis. You are the weakest link to them. So then Jacqueline goes. So then I think Jacqueline said that she would, I don't remember who she said she would marry, but then when she got to the sleeping part, she was like, well, I wouldn't sleep with Mia because we already done that already. When I tell you, everybody was like, girl, what? Giselle was like, Mia was like, like she gagged the butts because everyone said, girl, what? But then you got Mia being like, girl, why you telling my business? Why you telling my business? So then I think that's when Giselle ends up saying, like, she can believe it because when we met Jacqueline and Mia, I think that's when Mia let it be known that, like, they were playing gynecologist or doctor, and Mia was examining, Jacqueline's cootie cat. I'm stingy with my cootie cat. Shouts out to Jocelyn again. Okay, shouts out to her. And I was just like, girl, what? You got, Jacqueline in her confessional talking about, like, I'm here and, like, I'm the queen, like, and Mia knows. I said, girl, it's giving scorn lover. And then Kiarna was like, thirstiness. I said, yes, sis, it's giving thirstiness. Now it makes sense why Jacqueline is so territorial, because I think she believes that Mia might be doing what they was doing. Because to me, Jacqueline gives scorn lover. Like, don't get me wrong, there are friends that are very, like, territorial, that do too much. But with Jacqueline, it seems like maybe she might have wanted more with Mia or expected their relationship to go a certain way. And then when it didn't, she decided to, like, demote herself to being Mia's friend, even though she still might have, like, feelings for her. Because I'm like, why are y'all always sharing a room if not for y'all to be touching on each other like that? Because that's what it's giving, okay? That is what it's giving. So they pull up to the rooftop bar. It's a beautiful, like, it's really nice. It's really nice. So they're sitting down at the table and they're asking Wendy to give out, like, words of how she feels. And Wendy ends up saying how, I realize that I never invite other people to, like, my birthdays. It's always just my family. And I think part of that is because I didn't think people would celebrate me. And everyone's like, oh, like, they're kind of shocked that she felt that way. But then when you think about about how the women have treated her since season 5 and the fans, I don't think that's a far-fetched thing to think. And so she was just like, at 40, I'm realizing that I am enough. Like Wendy as who I am is enough. When y'all met me, I was 35. I was like, I just had my 3rd child, trying to get my body back, doing all these business ventures and everything. And she's just like, now I'm realizing who I am is enough, and I don't have to do too much anymore. So they then go around the table and everyone starts to explain like what they love about Wendy. I think Ashley was the first one to say that she admires Wendy and that she appreciates her and what she brings to the group. Then, Giselle says, our relationship ain't been the best, but where we are now, I am actually genuinely happy. And I honestly starting to wonder, is it really that production told Giselle to like ship up or get shipped out? Or if Giselle is now being nicer because she doesn't have Robin with her? Like, I'm wondering if we all were just like, Giselle's not moving forward and it's because Giselle is bullheaded, or was she being bullheaded because she felt like she had to be so loyal to Robin? Because yes, do I think the switch up is crazy, but I do kind of feel like she wouldn't be this willing to do so. I just don't think she'd be that. I feel like she would be cordial with Whitney, but I don't think she would be going this extra mile where they're laughing together. You're calling her on her birthday. To me, it's giving that like maybe she wanted to be cool with Wendy, but then Robin was still holding on to how she felt about Wendy. Because I've always felt like maybe Robin could be cool with the group if Giselle wasn't there. But now it's kind of feeling maybe Robin didn't need to be there so Giselle could be cool. I don't know. That's just a thought that's rolling up in my head. We then get to Karen, who says that like she admires Wendy and she admires all the obstacles she's went through and how she's come out on top. Then Jazzy ends up saying how she thinks Wendy is wonderful. Giselle didn't know what altruistic meant. And I was like, girl, we learned that word in middle school. But I guess maybe just at my middle school. And you got Ashley explaining it to her, like what altruistic meant. Basically means you give without expecting anything it to receive anything back. And then Kay ends up saying that, Wendy has been the glue in all of her situations. And I said, girl, you kind of laying it on thick, but okay. She also says that she wished that she receives everything that God gives to her. And then Mia even says something about how grateful she is for their friendship. Then here come Jacqueline messing up the vibe, talking about, when I first met you, you were kind of not warm, but now you are. And now I feel like, I'm here to stay. And I said, girl, that didn't have nothing to do with Wendy. It's giving to me that Jacqueline, Kiarna, Stacy, and Jazzy were all auditioning to probably for like full-time castmate roles. And well, maybe not Stacy. Maybe not Stacy, but it's giving that I'm gonna keep Stacy in there. But it is giving that they were all auditioning, and I think Jacqueline was really thinking that her proximity to Mia was gonna give her her spot. But girl, you flatlined. They end up, eating and talking. And then Stacey brings up how, everybody was talking about me and TJ, but no one's been talking about Jazzy and her relationship. Like, is it serious? Are you guys, engaged and all of this stuff? And so Jazzy has to explain her situation. She didn't do a good job because even Jacqueline was like, girl, what? And so then Jazzy tries to explain that, like, he had kids before she met him, even though everyone's like, Jazzy has told them all a different story where she was like, she didn't know he had kids. So what is given that, like I said in the spicy corner, either Jazzy knew about the baby mama and the kids or she didn't know and the guy was running in between both of them. Either way, it makes Jazzy look like the other woman, that she was a side chick. So then Kiarna chimes in and basically says that, like, she was dating an NFL player. At first, she confused everybody because she said he was having twins, but I think she meant hood twins because he got 2 girls pregnant at the same time and they had kids. So then Mia was like, what team did he play for? Because this sounds like somebody that I know. We might have been in the same situation. And Kiarna's like, Mia, girl, Shut up. Like, I don't even if it was true, Kiana was like, girl, he played for Jesus' team. I'm not telling you. Because Mia was like, was it the Ravens? Kiana was like, well, I'm not with him now, so I'm not going to put him out like that. So no, girl. But then I'm like, okay, when were you dating the NFL player? Because what you said is that you met Gordon at 19. You and Ink were messing around at 19 because y'all moved to Lake Norman together. And then you became a CEO at 24 and you met Gordon during that time. In that span, weren't you still with Ink? So where did the NFL player come with, especially when you've been married to Gordon for like 11 or 12 years? Mia, the math ain't mathing and the timeline ain't timelining, just like Jazzy. And I was with Giselle when Giselle was like, girl, the man cheated on you. Like just own it and keep it pushing. And I feel like that's why Jazzy is in the predicament that she's in, is I think she is trying to dress this up like she wasn't the other woman, or that like she's not culpable in the situation. Because I think if she makes it pretty in her head, then it makes her okay with like going with marrying him. But honestly, girl, if you would just be honest and say like, yeah, he cheated on me, or no, I really didn't know about the other girl like that, he told me that they weren't cool like that, then it would be easier for people to receive you. But the lying is what's getting you ate up on the internet right about now, girl. So as they're sitting at the table, everyone is like, how is everyone feeling? They move on from that. And I think Stacey ends up doing a toast to Ashley, saying that Ashley has pretty much encouraged her to start living in her truth with TJ. I said, girl, Stacey, shut up. But it seems like Stacey really likes Ashley, because even on Watch What Happens Live, Stacey was singing Ashley's praises about that's who she got close to. So I don't know. Maybe Ashley will form a friendship in Stacey. Everyone just kind of like, okay, cool. And then when they're departing from the table, Jacqueline ends up saying, yeah, we all need to go home because y'all stank. And everyone's like, girl, what? You don't fit, Jacqueline. So Mia's looking at Jacqueline like, girl, hush. And so as they're leaving the table, Wendy said, I'm 40 and I got 4 degrees. I said, keep letting them know you got 4 degrees. So they leave the table. I was with Stacey. I would have took the cotton candy with me as well. But I was like, can you keep the platform that it was on? I don't think you're supposed to keep it, girl. I would have just grabbed it and would have been eating as we were walking out. So they get back home. They still stay up. We find out it's the next day. Girl, when I tell you Wendy looks like Wendy looked like she got hit by a bus, like she said. Ashley looked a mess. Stacey's all chipper and happy because she used to being up early because she used to do television, like news. And all Wendy keep looking at Stacey with them glasses on like, girl, if you don't shut up, you too happy this morning, okay? We find out that they didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. So then Stacey is walking around the room trying to see how everyone's doing. You got Ashley looking tired and ran through. Then we have this scene of Mia and Jacqueline talking about Jazzy, where, you know, Jacqueline was like, the math just wasn't mathing. And Mia was like, nobody wants to be the other woman. And Jacqueline's like, where they're buying a home. And then Mia's like, well, girl, I was the other woman and I got a house too. So there's that. And I said, well, she got a point. And so we see them all get into different cars to head to the airport. Wendy screams out the car, I'm 40. And that was the end of it. Lame birthday. Okay, they could have came harder than this. But I will say, for them to be down at Lake Norman, it was interesting. It was way better than when they was in Austin, like way better than Chicken Shit Bingo. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic and definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. Remember to like, comment, and again, share your thoughts, comment. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.